Introduction. Flames engulf the forests of Ishikawa Prefecture. In the early hours of August 3, 2025, a massive fire broke out in a windbreak forest near the Hokuriku Expressway in Ishikawa Prefecture, sending thick plumes of smoke into the sky and forcing the closure of a critical stretch of road between the Kaga Interchange IC and Komatsu IC. Firefighters suspect a wildfire triggered by dry conditions and strong winds. While no injuries have been reported so far, the scale of the blaze and its proximity to a major transport artery have sparked urgent concerns about safety, environmental impact, and infrastructure vulnerability. Timeline of the incident, from smoke to inferno. According to the Ishikawa Prefectural Police and local fire departments, smoke was first spotted around 5:30 a.m. by a commuter driving along the expressway. Shortly thereafter, flames were seen rising rapidly from the densely wooded area on the eastern side of the Hokuriku Expressway, approximately 2 kilometers south of the Komatsu IC. Eyewitnesses reported that the fire spread alarmingly fast due to gusts from the Sea of Japan and the exceptionally dry summer conditions. Within 2 hours, the fire had consumed an estimated 6 hectares of the forest, prompting emergency response teams to mobilize from Komatsu City, Kaga City, and surrounding municipalities. By 8 a.m., the West Nippon Expressway Company NEXCO West Japan had shut down all lanes between Kaga IC and Komatsu IC in both directions, citing extremely poor visibility and the risk of the fire jumping the expressway. First responders mobilize. A race against time. More than 20 fire engines and 2 aerial firefighting helicopters were dispatched to the scene by mid-morning. With the fire advancing at nearly 10 meters per minute through the dry pine and cedar trees, fire suppression crews focused on creating a firebreak to prevent the blaze from reaching residential neighborhoods and industrial zones near Komatsu Airport. Officials from the Komatsu City Fire Department described the operation as extremely challenging, due to unpredictable wind patterns and the dense nature of the windbreak forest, which was planted decades ago as a buffer against strong seasonal gusts and sandstorms. Our priority was to contain the fire before it reached the urban fringe, said Chief Hiroshi Tanaka. But the wind and heat created fire vortices, making it difficult to approach certain hotspots. The aerial units dropped fire retardant and water sourced from nearby rivers and lakes, while ground crews dug trenches and used water cannons to halt the fire's advance. The impact on transport. An artery cut off. The Hokuriku Expressway is a vital link for transportation in the Chubu region of Japan, connecting Toyama, Ishikawa, and Fukui prefectures with the Kansai region. The closure of the Kaga to Komatsu section immediately created bottlenecks, with traffic being diverted to Route 8 and other local roads ill-equipped for heavy cargo flow. Truck drivers en route to Kanazawa and Niigata reported delays of up to 4 hours, while tourists heading toward the famed Yamashiro Onsen in Kaga had to cancel or postpone their trips. I was headed to Kanazawa for a wedding, said Yukiko Sato, a Tokyo resident. We ended up stuck in traffic for hours, and eventually had to turn back to Suruga. NEXCO West Japan issued a travel advisory urging commuters to avoid the area and use alternative routes until the expressway could be safely reopened. Evacuations and public safety. Although the fire has not reached any residential zones, the Komatsu city government issued a level 3 evacuation advisory for neighborhoods within a 1.5-kilometer radius of the fire site. This included parts of the Asano and Shichihata districts, home to approximately 2,000 residents. Local schools and daycare centers were closed for the day as a precaution, and emergency shelters were opened at 2 municipal gyms and a community hall. Officials distributed masks due to the heavy smoke blanketing nearby areas. Komatsu Airport, located just 4 kilometers from the fire site, remained operational but experienced minor delays as smoke occasionally drifted into airspace near the runway. Several early morning flights were rescheduled, and the Civil Aviation Bureau issued a notice to airmen alerting pilots to the smoke hazard. Environmental and ecological concerns. Forestry officials believe the fire has likely destroyed hundreds of trees, many of them part of a government-managed reforestation program. The windbreak forest, planted in the post-war years, was designed not only to prevent wind erosion and shield the expressway, but also to foster biodiversity in a rapidly urbanizing zone. Environmental expert Dr. Kenji Nakamura of Kanazawa University called the fire a wake-up call for climate and land management policies in the region. Japan's forests are becoming increasingly vulnerable to wildfires due to a combination of factors: climate change, aging forestry infrastructure, and declining rural populations that once helped maintain fire breaks and irrigation systems, he said. This incident underscores the need for proactive forest monitoring and fire risk assessments. Wildlife experts have also expressed concern about the impact on local fauna. The forest is home to raccoons, foxes, various birds, and even the occasional Japanese sparrow. Burned foliage and toxic smoke could devastate these fragile populations. Suspected cause: natural or human-induced. While initial suspicions point to natural causes, possibly a combination of high temperatures, lightning, and strong winds, investigators have not ruled out human involvement. A team from the Ishikawa Prefectural Police and Fire Investigation Bureau is examining the possibility that a discarded cigarette or an illegal campfire may have triggered the blaze. Recent drone footage captured a charred area near a popular yet unofficial hiking path, raising speculation about unauthorized human activity in the area. Whether it was a natural spark or human negligence, it's clear that conditions were ripe for a fire of this scale, stated Detective Yosuke Fujimoto, who is heading the investigation. Voices from the community. Local residents who have lived near the windbreak forest for generations watched with anguish as smoke blanketed their skies. "I remember when my father helped plant those trees," said 72-year-old Kazuo Uchida of Kaga City. "They were our shield from the storms. It hurts to see them go up in flames." Children at a local elementary school wrote messages of encouragement for firefighters, with one note reading, "Please protect our trees and come home safe." Restaurants and shops in the affected area began handing out bottled water and rice balls to emergency responders, continuing a tradition of community support in times of crisis. Government response and long-term strategy. By late afternoon, Governor Hiroshi Hayes of Ishikawa Prefecture held an emergency press conference, stating that full containment of the fire could take up to 48 hours depending on wind conditions. He confirmed that the self-defense forces were on standby if the fire breached containment lines or threatened urban zones. He also promised a full review of emergency response protocols and forest management systems once the immediate threat had passed. "Today is a harsh reminder that we are living in an era where wildfires are no longer rare occurrences in Japan," said the governor. "We must adapt our infrastructure and policies to meet this growing danger." The Ministry of Land, Infrastructure, Transport and Tourism (MLIT) also issued a statement supporting local efforts and pledged funding for reforestation and fire prevention. Road to recovery. What lies ahead? As night falls, the battle continues. Fire crews remain on the scene, rotating shifts to prevent exhaustion, while drones and thermal imaging cameras monitor the fire's edges. Temporary lighting towers illuminate the charred forest, now a ghostly silhouette of twisted trunks and scorched earth. The expressway closure is expected to remain in effect through at least August 5. NEXCO West Japan has begun preparing to inspect road surfaces and signage once conditions are safe, as intense heat may have caused structural damage. Long-term, the region faces tough questions. Should more aggressive measures be implemented to monitor forest health? Should windbreak forests be retrofitted with fire-resistant vegetation? And how can Japan's aging population in rural areas be supported in maintaining the land? For now, the priority remains containment and safety. But once the last ember is extinguished, the real work, healing the land and learning from the blaze, will begin. Conclusion. A fiery reminder of nature's power. The fire near the Hokuriku Expressway has reminded Japan that even well-planned landscapes and infrastructures are vulnerable to nature's fury. While no lives were lost and swift action prevented a broader catastrophe, the scars left behind, both ecological and emotional, will take time to heal. From the coordination of emergency crews to the resilience of local communities, this event also showcased the strength of Japan's disaster response framework. As rebuilding begins and investigators search for answers, one thing is certain: the forests will regrow, but the memory of this fire will linger for years to come.